So I prayed to God and I said, Lord, I really want to play professional basketball someday. And if you allow me to reach the professional ranks, I'll let everybody know that the only reason that I'm here is because of you.
Mm.
And you're the reason, the source of my strength. And that summer I grew 5 inches
Wow.
over the summer. Yeah, it was crazy. I shot up.
Hello, everyone. This is author Tim Brown, the book Uncommon Athletes. I am truly blessed today to have with me an uncommon athlete. And part of this series has been about uncommon athletes. I want to encourage you all to subscribe and make sure you like the video. But today I have with me a Harlem Globetrotter from Columbus, Ohio. Excited about this. Julian McClurkin is with us today. And so I'm excited about having this opportunity to share with him. Julian, you're a tall fella. How did your did you start right into basketball? How did your basketball journey begin?
I wasn't tall, that's for sure. It would have been a lot easier if I was taller as a kid. But Coach Brown, thanks so much for having me, man. I appreciate it. I've been knowing you for a while, and just giving me these opportunities to continue to pour into people has always been a blessing. So I thank you for the platform. I thank you for the opportunity. But yeah, my basketball career started a long time ago. I always loved basketball as a kid. Like, I just absolutely loved it. My love for the game came from my older brother, Robert McClurkin. And here in Columbus, Ohio, he was like a little bit of a street legend because everybody knew about his game, but he never played in high school, never played in college. He was one of those guys who was just always good, and couldn't make the team though, because he just wasn't a good team player when it came to that type of thing. I didn't realize it at the time, but he would take me all around Columbus, all of these different open gyms he would go to. He would just be cooking everybody, right? And just made it look so easy to get to the basket. And I fell in love with the game because of the way his peers respected him and looked up to him. And I wanted to have that same thing from him. I wanted him to look up to me and respect me. So I wanted to make him proud. So I kept trying out, for each team. But my older brother always said I was hard to coach though, because I was so goofy. And I like playing around. Like, yeah, it's cool to win and everything, but then like I never took the game too seriously. I was never that guy, who was getting overly emotional because I got fouled, or overly emotional because a play didn't go my way. In fact, I never understood those athletes. Fast forward a little bit, man. I finally get an opportunity to try out for a basketball team in middle school. It was 7th grade, and I was average height. I was the same height as everybody else, basically. And I didn't make the team. Made it to the final cut, and I got cut. And I was like, man, this sucks. Like, all right. So I put in the work the very next year, and I was like, this is going to be my year. And I got cut again. This was the theme from 7th grade all the way to 10th grade. Wow. I got cut every single year. And I'm like, man, this is terrible. I tell you what I did though, because when I was a kid, my pastor saw me. He was headed to the bathroom. I was leaving the bathroom. And he looked at my feet. He was like, man, you're going to be about 6'8" one day. I was 10 years old. And I'm 6'8" right now. To this day, I'm 6'8". So yeah, to answer your question, I'm 6'8", but also I was like, this man is a prophet. I'm never leaving this church. This is great. So I ended up growing to be that height eventually, but at this time I was still pretty average. So I prayed to God and I said, Lord, I really want to play professional basketball someday. And if you allow me to reach the professional ranks, I'll let everybody know that the only reason that I'm here is because of you. And you're the reason, the source of my strength. And that summer I grew 5 inches over the summer. Yeah, it was crazy. I shot up. So like I'm a whole different guy going from 10th grade to 11th grade. But my whole career I kind of been practicing guard work. So I thought I was going to be a point guard, because I didn't think I was going to grow and be taller than everybody else. Well, there's a million guards out there. So, in order to differentiate yourself from the guard, you have to be really, really good. And I was just average at ball handling at the time. But now I'm a 6'1" or 6'2" guy in high school with a great handle, and this is back the centers weren't 7-footers back then. So I was playing the forward. At 6'2", grew a little bit more during the year, ended up around 6'5" by the end of my junior year. But I wasn't getting any minutes because everybody else who had been playing together had gotten all these minutes and been playing and doing well together in AAU, and made my junior year basketball team. And then I made it my senior year. Our whole varsity team was all seniors. So there wasn't a lot of playing time to go around. I ended up playing maybe 1 minute a game, maybe 2. I was just that guy they would throw in at the very end because I'm long, put my arms in so I could defend the ball. We ended up with a really great season too. We lost in the city tournament to Brookhaven though. And I was just telling this story yesterday. Every now and then somebody will remind me of what happened. Coach put me in, 1 minute to go. Score was tied. I got the deflection. We went down. Our star shooting guard went up for a layup with like 2 seconds left. He airballs the layup. I get the rebound and I'm looking over the rim and I could literally just dunk it. And I laid it up like this and I missed it. I got so nervous because I wasn't ready for a big moment like that.
So you had the opportunity to play basketball at that next level. Can you talk about your college basketball career?
Played basketball at Tiffin University, where the head coach there was a previous Independence 76er. So he recruited me to come there, but he didn't tell me that I was going to be playing JV. I didn't even know colleges had JV teams. So I ended up on a JV team in college. This guy, me, who's been praying my whole life to play basketball professionally and giving God the glory for it. But every step, anytime I made any team, I always thank the Lord for the opportunity because there's plenty of people who don't get to continue their careers after high school. So here I am continuing it. It's not how I wanted it to be. So anyway, played that whole season on JV, and that's when I really learned how to play basketball. The JV coach gave me a green light, and I was really getting good at basketball at that point. I was probably averaging around 20 points a game, getting about 10 rebounds a game, 5 assists, and really learning coming into my own as a player. Then the next year, basically the same situation. Coach didn't have a spot for me on the varsity team, but he had plenty of time for me on the JV team. So I kind of honed in my skills again, and I'm like, man, this is 2 years of eligibility I'm getting ready to spend all on junior varsity, and this is not fun. Third year comes around, or we get ready for my third year there, and the coach quit. He ended up leaving. The new coach comes in, calls me into the office. He says, Julian, I gotta be honest, I don't have a spot for you here on this varsity team. And I'm like, cool. I got to be honest, I don't have a spot here in Tiffin, Ohio anymore. Then I got to go and do something different. This isn't it.
Julian, you've been on quite a journey with high school, college at Tiffin, and now all of a sudden you decide to go to an HBCU school, North Carolina A&T. Can you talk about that experience at an HBCU school playing college basketball there?
Probably one of the most historical HBCUs in the country. They had a great basketball program at the time, but they weren't winning. So I said, I might have a good shot at actually making this team. I get to North Carolina A&T and transferring from Division II to Division I, no matter what, you have to sit out a year. So I said, this is awesome. I'll get a chance to actually hone in on my skills and get better at basketball. And that's what I did that whole year. I'm waking up 5 a.m. in the morning, weight vest, running the stadium stairs, playing another guy who also wants to try to make the team. We're playing one-on-one, full court, going at it every single morning. And I mean, my skills went to the next level. We had our last game on ESPN. It was on ESPN2. And I told everybody, I prophesied that night. I said, I'm going to get on ESPN Sports Center top 10 plays tonight. I said, I'm either getting dunked on or I'm dunking on somebody, but I'm getting on Sports Center top 10 plays. So I ended up dunking on this guy, and it got top 10 plays. I was number 7, and it wasn't a slow night either. LeBron was playing that night. Dwight Howard had a nasty dunk that night. Like it was a big night, and I ended up top 10 plays, and I ended up only being my first time on Sports Center. I had no idea I'd actually show up on there about 8 more times in my career
Wow.
so far. So fast forward, now I got to figure out what does professional basketball look like for me. How do I get and bridge that gap? And that play actually helped me springboard into my professional career. A scout saw it who's in South America, and he recruited me to come play down there in Paraguay in the Sucion. Tried out for the team, made the team. They loved me, and I was killing it. I did absolutely. I played better basketball then than I had ever played in previous times before. Average 30 points a game, average 15 rebounds a game, average 10 assists a game. So I was doing everything. When you play overseas, they expect the American to do everything, and like even down to coaching and bringing people in and out. So I was doing that, and then they sent me home for somebody else with more experience. So another like, when I tell people I've been cut my whole life, they really don't get it. Like, I really have been cut or sat the bench my entire life. This is why they also say I'm a great locker room guy, because I may be on the bench, but you're going to hear me on the bench for cheering for my team, being there for everybody and everything. So,
wow, sounds like you've had a lot of experiences here, Julian. So how did this, after your experience overseas, now you're back in the United States, how did you end up with the part of the Globetrotter experience? How did that come about?
Yeah, so I had never heard of the Globetrotters growing up. As a kid, I saw them on Scooby-Doo, but I didn't realize it was a real team. Batman is on Scooby-Doo. That's not a real person. So I was like, it'd be cool if they were real, because you see these guys who look like you and seem like they have these superhero abilities, right, on the basketball court. Well, a guy I knew had been playing for a team called the Washington Generals. And the Generals is a team that famously loses to the Harlem Globetrotters. So he said I'd be perfect for it. I'm like, why do you think I'd be perfect to lose? He said, just trust me, man, you'll be really good at this. Because he knew my personality. He knew what type of guy I was. And man, I played 1 year. I tried out and played 1 year for the Washington Generals. And it was so much fun. It was so much fun playing. Even though we lost, you had to learn how to take moral victories. I lost more games that year than I did my entire career,
Right.
but I had fun. I had fun doing it, traveling the world, and then getting a chance to see the impact that the Harlem Globetrotters have, not only on the court, but off the court as well. That was special to me, being able to be a part of that. So what I did was I let the coach know that I'm interested in becoming a Harlem Globetrotter. And he's like, well, you don't just become a Harlem Globetrotter from the Generals. Like, it's a very hard transition. Psychologically, in people's mind, you're going from the worst team in the world to the greatest team in the entire world. So I took every game that I played as a tryout. And I let them know, like, look, I'm going to be a part of this team, even to the point where there were games I'm dunking on the Harlem Globetrotters. Like, you can see it. We played a game on ESPN, and I dunked on one of their main guys, and I was like, I'm gonna get on this team. So the very next year, they ended up giving me a tryout, and I tried out for them. And now I made the team. I've been on the team for 11 years.
That's awesome. Great story. How God works, how God has a plan and a purpose, for our lives. And as we transition, let's talk a little about your faith, and particularly during this COVID time. And I know there were some things that happened where everything's kind of shuts down. Can you tell me about how your faith helped you through this season, helped you through that season in your life?
Oh yeah, I mean, faith always has played a strong role in my personal development, and just being around faithful people. The lockdown happened, and people were forced to kind of be shut in. Even many churches ended up shutting down. Ours never did. So we had the opportunity to continue to go to church. In fact, we provided service for the people who couldn't come out, and live stream. My dad and I are over the audio video department there at the church. So we help spread the word and spread that faith to other people. But, in those times when I couldn't get out or my wife couldn't get out, it's good to have a strong person around you. Does that make sense? Kind of strengthening you and, encouraging you with each and every day. So, I mean, my faith is, if anything, it got stronger during the pandemic, particularly because God showed up for me in the pandemic with more opportunities. So the Globetrotters, we got shut down. we were furloughed in March of, when did the pandemic start? I feel like forever ago, 2020.
2020.
Yeah, we got furloughed and I had to figure out what was going to go on. So I asked the Lord to kind of open some doors for me, and he opened up the real estate door. I always was interested in real estate, but I never knew if I would be any good at it. All I knew is that as I took a survey of my life and all the successful people that I knew, all the multi-millionaires and happy people, happy with their families and spouses and lives, they all owned a lot of real estate. So I said, I got to figure out how to get into this real estate game. Well, God was forcing my hand and allowing me to be furloughed. The next month, April came around and I took my real estate exam. I had been taking my classes just so I could kind of get a knowledge of what real estate was really about. And here's the biggest miracle. I passed my real estate exam on the first try, and I'm a terrible test taker. Like I just do not do tests. I'm not very good at them. And that was a miracle that I passed it. And the average real estate agent in Ohio, there's 30,000 in Ohio. Average agent closes 2 deals every year. My first year, and I didn't even have a full year, we started in April, I closed 15. And my second year, I closed 30. This year, I'm on track for about 60. So it was really special for me to see that I had more to offer the world than just being a professional basketball player. And God has been setting me up for this for a while now. And you talk about uncommon athletes, like it's very uncommon for an athlete to go into this professional field and dominate in the way that I have. But I will say that I think athletes make the best real estate agents because of the competitive nature of the sport. Yeah. I mean, of the field. There are so many people, and like I can still scratch that competitive itch that I have, and crush it in this field as well. So
that's awesome. That's powerful. Using those skills that you learned, and the Bible says this: all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord, called according to His purpose. As we look back over your life, what advice would you give to not just young athletes, but young people, period, about staying the course, so to speak, not giving up? You've been cut many times. You've gone through. What advice would you give to some young people today?
The biggest piece of advice I'll give people is to be like me, in that I'm very coachable. Be coachable. Be the guy or the girl that your coach can depend on with their plan or their philosophy. They know if I put you out there, you're going to execute just how we wrote it up. Because there's so many athletes out there who don't listen to coaches. There's so many athletes out there who ignore them, and they say, I'm the star on this team. I'm going to do what I want, and that's not just in sports, right? Be coachable in life. Listen to your parents, listen to your teachers, adults, listen to your bosses. Like it costs you absolutely no money to listen to people. And the biggest thing that people want in life as I'm growing is to be heard, especially people who are talkers. Like, you probably think I'm a talker because I've been talking this whole time, but I'm really a big time listener. And I think that's the best piece of advice I can offer you is just be coachable and understand that this sport that you're playing can really open up a lot of doors for you in the future. Like, I can't tell you how many times I have sold a house or helped a person sell their house just because I'm a Harlem Globetrotter. They want to work with me, right? Just because they know I'm an athlete. They don't really care anything about my credentials, and they just want to work with me just because athletes are likable people. People have been cheering for us our whole life from the stands. Like, you really want to take advantage of these opportunities because you won't always be able to say that you are an athlete. So, yeah.
That's a great word for some young athletes. And I think the other thing that you're saying is you came back, just the importance of treating people right along the way.
Yeah.
Because you could easily, sharing your junior college, your Division II experience, sharing your experience at North Carolina A&T, where you're playing in front of a guy who's on scholarship. You could easily be like, hey, wait a minute, coach, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Just remaining humble, remaining focused, and knowing that God has a plan.
Yes, sir.
It all works out, and looks like it's working well for you.
Yes, sir.
Well for you. So I want to thank you for your time. It's been a great interview. I've learned a whole lot about that. I can't wait to see the Harlem Globetrotters next time. So
yes, sir.
I'm looking for you on ESPN.
Yes, sir.
play today. Well, thanks for your time, Julian. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks, Coach.